Back-to-back losses have the Steelers reeling a little bit. They had an opportunity to nail down the AFC North Championship with a win against Baltimore in Baltimore over the weekend. That didn't happen. The Steelers have lost 2 in a row. Still control their path to the AFC North Championship, but the road does not figure to be easy. Thank you very much for being with us for the matchup presented by Shell Polymers alongside Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson, who you know and love from The Drive. I'm Rob King, and when we look at the AFC North Championship, yeah, it's still there for the Steelers. They control their path, Dale, but that path has a big obstacle in its path, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, you got to win these last 2 games at home. I will say, you know, the people down on the Steelers right now, you need to remember that the Steelers have played 4 of their last 5 games on the road, 2 of those on a short work week, and that makes it very difficult, but they still control everything in front of them, starting with this week against the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been playing the entire season maybe with a horseshoe stuck somewhere.
Yeah, but they've been doing that for a while.
They've been doing it for a while.
They've got back-to-back Super Bowl championships. They seem to have found a formula for doing that. And you look at the Ravens. Obviously, their path is not particularly easy either. They need the Steelers to stumble, and the Bengals still have a chance at making the playoffs.
Yeah, it's sort of a long shot for the Bengals, but they're not dead yet. That's for sure. Baltimore's in good shape because, you know, they're going to the playoffs, whether they win the division or not. They had that late bye. They got to play the Giants. Very impressive win against the Steelers. So some momentum building in Baltimore, but we'll see. There's some tough games ahead for both these teams.
Yeah, and let's get into our key matchups in this game. We're going to begin with the Steelers offense, and Matt, we're going to begin with you. And Steve Spagnuolo is a coordinator that's been around for a long time. He won a Super Bowl championship with the Giants. He's won 3 more with the Chiefs. And you like to battle with he and Russell Wilson.
Absolutely. And there aren't many coordinators through the history of the league you can just look at and be like, that's a Hall of Fame coordinator only, and he's one of them. And who knows, maybe they're going to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, which would even add to his legacy. But he is very aggressive, very innovative. They stress smart, versatile defensive players, much like Belichick did in New England. But what I wonder is, it's such a short week, how exotic can he get? And you got to bring up Wilson too, because he's been there, done it. He's seen a little bit of everything from around the league. He should be able to adjust a lot better at the line of scrimmage than some of the quarterbacks in recent memory.
Yeah, and this is also a team that he saw twice a year when he was in Denver. The last 2 seasons. So, you know, he's matched up against Spagnuolo and his defense 4 times in the last 2 years. So, to Matt's point, on a short work week, how crazy can the Chiefs get with this? It's not like they're going to be adding anything new that's really going to be Steelers specific here. So Russell Wilson and his above-the-neck ability in this game is going to be critical.
Agreed. Now, another critical part is sustaining drives and obviously giving that defense a little bit of a break. And you look at the last 2 games, Dale, and you just look at the 3-and-out category. 7 3-and-outs for the Steelers offense, only 1 forced by the defense. Those things go hand in hand, right? If you keep going 3-and-out, the defense is out there longer, it becomes harder and harder for them to be successful. So I think all that begins with early down success.
Especially early in the game, because if you look at what the Chiefs have done this year, they've really dominated the second quarter of games. I think they're plus 52, or no, plus 72 in the second quarter of games in terms of scoring. But they get off to a little bit of a slow start. They're only like plus 7 or so in the first quarter. So if you can sustain drives early against the Chiefs, you know, they're going to be the team on the road traveling here on the short work week. Maybe you can, again, make them work a little bit harder here. And I thought last week against Baltimore, you know, despite some of the struggles there, the Steelers averaged over 6 yards per play on first down in that game. They attacked a little bit more with the passing game in that game to kind of shorten some distances there on 2nd and 3rd down, and I think they need to continue that moving forward.
All right, so let's get to the final key that we have for this game. You know, when you think, guys, about the Chiefs, I think a lot of people maybe are still thinking about the Chiefs offense that came in here to Zen Heinz Field and just lit up the Steelers and Pat Mahomes and all those weapons. Tyreek Hill was on the team, Kelsey, the running backs they had, you know, Hardman on the other end. Look, this has been a defense sort of first team over the last couple of years. Yes, you still have Mahomes, but to me, containing Chris Jones And I'm going to throw Tershawn Wharton in there. I'm even going to throw Mike Pennell in there. When you look at Jones, obviously a Pro Bowl, an all-pro caliber player, 5 sacks this year. Wharton has 5.5. So, yeah, they can control the run. They can do a great job controlling the running game. They have done that. But you get into passing down situations, and that pressure up the middle. I mean, just those 3 guys right there accounting for 13.5 sacks. Usually you think of that trouble, Matt, coming on the edge. They're going to come right up the middle at Russell Wilson, try to get him out of the pocket. That's, to me, going to be a huge part of this game.
Yeah, they have a lot of big physical front 7 players. Leo Chenal, Karlaftis. I mean, even though they're not interior D linemen, but back to Spags, he'll bring interior pressures for sure. Jones is interesting. I mean, I know that he's fighting an injury. We don't know exactly where he's at right now. But he seems like he comes up to the line of scrimmage at times, especially on throwing downs, and picks and chooses where he feels like lining up. Like, I'm going to pick on this guy, and then everyone has to adjust accordingly. It's an interesting strategy, but it works quite well. They don't really have edge benders, though, like the Steelers.
Yeah, Karlaftis he leads the team in sacks, but I think it's 7, so it's not like it's a huge number of sacks. But the other thing, and Mike Tomlin pointed this out during his weekly press conference, they will blitz a ton. So going back to your early downs, right, you don't want to get in 3rd and long because, Nick Bolton's got 3 sacks.
And the ball's going to have to come out quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what Spagnuolo counts on. He wants to get you in 3rd and 7 or longer, and they'll have 9 guys at the line of scrimmage, and some will drop out, some are coming, and the quarterback has to get the ball out early, and they tackle the catch, and you're short of the sticks. So you do have to stay in those 3rd and shorts if you get to 3rd down, because you can still beat those blitz packages with that. But, to Matt's point, Jones will line up all over the place, so every lineman on the team is going to have to put hands on him at some point in this game.
It is a formidable challenge for the Steelers, no doubt about it. We wanted to remind you that Yin's Chat, hey, we're getting down towards the end of the regular season here. For Yin's Chat regular season challenges, they're live, answer trivia and predictive questions, and compete against Steelers Nation for a chance to win a football signed by Minkah Fitzpatrick. Remember to keep playing each week for a chance at new prizes and a chance at a VIP trip to the 2025 draft in Green Bay. A look at the Steelers defense going against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense when the matchup, presented by Shell Polymers, resumes.
Hi folks, welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Honor Museum.
Now this is the best era.
I couldn't agree more. Those teams were unstoppable.
The teams were really good in the 90s.
Come on, you couldn't catch those teams of the 2000s. Literally.
The 70s were the best.
No way, the 2000s.
Whoa, stop fighting. I think every era was pretty sweet.
You said it, kid. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves.
Wait, you're T?
Well, the Steelers have moved from the proverbial fire to the proverbial frying pan, or maybe it's the other way around. Doesn't really make any difference. Either way, the Steelers had this road grader of a schedule. They've lost the first 2 games, been burned, so to speak, in Philadelphia and Baltimore. Now they return home for the last 2 games of the season, looking to win an AFC North championship. They already know that they're going to the playoffs. Hopefully here, Dale, as we look at the Steelers defense, let's just begin by saying Joey Porter Jr. on a short week, would seem to be questionable, very questionable that he might return. But Mike Tomlin opened the door for guys like Deshaun Elliott to be back, Dante Jackson to be back, and Larry Ogunjobi, and they have clearly been missed by the Steelers defense.
Yeah, I mean, you can always talk about the next man up mentality, and the Steelers do employ that, but that only works to a degree. When it's 5 next men up, that's where it starts to get a little interesting. There's always a tipping point as to when you have too many backups out there. You can kind of cover up for one guy. You can cover up for 2 guys. Covering up for 4 or 5 is difficult.
So when you think about Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to begin with my key to this matchup, and that is the Steelers' edge guys, Watt, Highsmith, Herbig, Preston Smith. I think they've got an advantage against these Chiefs offensive tackles. I think this could be the kind of game, and you don't have to worry. You have to worry about Mahomes escaping the pocket for sure, but not to quite to the same degree to me as the guy we're seeing here, Jalen Hurts, or Lamar Jackson, or Jaden Daniels, in which As Mike Tomlin was telling Bob Labriola, you have to make sure you don't get out around behind Mahomes. You do have to be cautious of that, but I also think this is the kind of game in which these guys can really come to bear and be a huge factor in defeating this Chiefs offense.
Yeah, and one thing that the Chiefs did last week, Rob, against Houston is Mahomes was getting the ball in under 2.5 seconds pretty quickly. Everything was kind of quick at the line of scrimmage, but with the Chiefs they've kicked Joe Thuney out to left tackle. We'll see what's up with Juwan Taylor, their right tackle. He is nursing a knee injury. If he can't play, now they're really compromised at tackle, and expect the ball to come out quickly again. And if you can play some solid coverage, allow those outside linebackers to get home, they have a huge advantage there.
And again, you'd love it to be 3rd and 7 or longer,
right,
just like we talked about with the Chiefs defense. So that means winning in the early downs. Matt, the Chiefs got Hollywood Brown. They're finally able to activate him this week. He adds, all of a sudden you look up and you're like, whoa, holy mackerel. They have Hollywood Brown coming in to join them at this part of the season in an area that's been a weakness for them. Rashid Rice was injured earlier in the season. They have not had that same pedigree of pass catchers at the wide receiver position. Now they're getting that, and it's going to be a challenge for the Steelers.
Yeah, protection, back to our former conversation, protection's an issue with this team, but they were very unexplosive last year. So this offseason, they go get the fastest guy that's ever ran at the combine,
right,
Worthy, and Brown. They wanted to get some big play guys on the edge. Hasn't really worked that way. I mean, it's been much more of a get it out quick, Kelsey, tight ends, Rashid Rice, as you mentioned, middle of the field type guys. However, Steelers cornerback situation's not perfect at the moment, that's for sure. We don't know what Porter's up to. And that group is starting to show more and more signs of life. Brown got acclimated last week. I think Worthy's starting to hit his stride in the league a little bit too. You know what Kelsey is, and they don't put a ton on his plate at this stage of his career, but maybe Minka gets involved with him, who's to say, but their pass catchers are maybe at the peak of their season.
Yeah. They've had 19 different players catch a pass this season. 19.
Yeah.
Steelers have had a lot. They have 14. The Chiefs have had 19 different guys catch passes.
Yeah, and they seem to be getting healthier now at the running back position. And look, you just mentioned it briefly, but Kelsey and Gray, 127 catches combined out of the tight end position.
Gray stepped up.
Yeah, that is a lot of catches. So if he gets rid of it quickly, he's got plenty of targets to go to there. And again, I think it's, even though you don't think of the Chiefs as a tremendous running team, right? They do have some talented backs. Pacheco, who looks like he's maybe taken a little bit of a backseat at the running back position, but he's still a capable guy, a tone setter for him. But this Steelers run defense was not good against Baltimore. Hasn't been great tackling over the last couple weeks, and that's your key. The run defense has got to step up here.
Yeah, they really missed Deshaun Elliott, particularly against the Ravens. And if you look at this rushing attack of the Kansas City Chiefs, Hunt and Pacheco, 3.8 and 3.7 yards per carry. Really, it's been Mahomes that's kind of been the backbreaker in a lot of cases. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry, and he has 23 carries on third downs. 12 of those have gone for first downs.
Yeah.
You can't allow that to happen. So you have to shut down the running backs early. As a team, they average 4 yards per carry, just ahead of the Steelers in that regard. But you have to stop those running backs. You can't let either one of those guys get going.
You mentioned Mahomes as a runner, and no, he's not Lamar or Hurts in terms of just flat-out speed, but he's so smart when he runs, and he breaks your back, and rarely do you see him get caught from behind, too. He's pretty fast with the football in his hands.
He is, and he reminds me a little bit of Aaron Rodgers, from 8 or 10 years ago, in which, man, if it's 3rd and 7, he finds a way to scramble for 8.
He gets 8 every time.
It's just,
right.
He is, and that's a great stat. I know over half of his scrambles going for first downs. So the Steelers will look to continue their march toward an AFC North title, but a formidable opponent stands in their way on Christmas Day. The Chiefs, 14-1, come to Acrisure Stadium. Kickoff is scheduled for 1 p.m. For Dale Lolley, Matt Williamson, our entire Steelers studio crew, I'm Rob King. We thank you for watching this edition of The Matchup presented by Shell Polymers.